Okay, so now we're going to go to the ironing board, and we're going to take the bib lining that we sewed the 1/2-inch seam allowance, and clip my threads away, and we're going to press this seam open. I like to finger press a little bit first to kind of open it up, and then give it some heat. And my iron could have been a little bit hotter. Anyways, now if everything went well, as in you cut your pattern out accurately, you cut the fabric out accurately, then this should be exactly the same size and go together. So see, this is the cut 2 with the seam, and this is the cut 1, and see how I'm placing them right sides together with the pretty side of the fabric on the inside. All right, now, but before I do that, I've got to turn my straps out and press those too. All right, so here, so I've turned them. Now I'm going to use my point turner tool, and I'm going to push it up in and press out the corners nice and sharp, both straps. Okay, now I have to press those too. Now you want to make sure to kind of roll that with your fingers, because you want to make sure that the fabric is completely folded, pushed out, and you want to press right on that seam that you made. That will ensure that your strap is even. Okay, so I rolled it with my fingers. I see that seam should be right there on the edge. All right, now do it one more time. Roll it with my fingers. All right, and make sure that I am pressing right on the seam that I made. And there we go. Now I've got 2 straps and my bib lining, and I'm ready to put it together. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing though before I pin everything. I'm going to make some, my guidelines. All right, so I'm going to draw a line 1/2 inch from the edge on each side, and 1/2 inch from the top, and just make little hash marks. That's going to help you see where to put your straps. Now you want the nice clean end that we sewed across pointing down. The raw edge goes up against this raw edge because it's going to be sandwiched inside the garment. So strap nice side down, raw edge is up at the top, thread out, and then what I'm doing is I'm placing it right where I made, just inside that hash mark by about 1/8 of an inch. So that ensures I'm not going to catch it. It'll be right at the corner of my bib, and I'm not going to catch it when I sew it. So in fact, I'll go ahead and I'll pin it, and then just to be safe, what I'm going to do is go over here and stitch across that where I have, and you could do that literally within the seam allowance. So you can use the side of your foot as the guide. In fact, it doesn't hurt anything just to come all the way across the top. I'm only 1/4 of an inch from the top now, so it's within my 1/2 inch seam allowance. And it just makes sure that your strap isn't going to move on you when you put this thing together. All right, so I sewed all the way across the top, but you can see I made sure to get my straps in the right place, and now I can remove the pins because it's not going anywhere. There it is. All right, I think I should stop and take a picture. So what I have done now is, you saw that I just sewed across the top, but you can see I have put a couple of pins. I've kind of angled just slightly the strap inside and put a couple pins. Now the reason I did that is we are about to sew the bib lining to the bib. We're going to be sewing all along this edge. Well, we want to make sure that the strap doesn't get in the way and get caught over in here. So that's why I've pinned it out of the way, and I'm going to hand the camera to my husband and show you the last step. So once that's pinned out of the way, now this is the bib that was on the fold. This is the lining. So the small end, the small is the top, and that's where your straps are. Now we're going to just place this on top. This is called the sandwich. So this is the bottom bread, and we got our bacon in here, or your bologna, or whatever you want in there. All right, and we're going to put this, line up the whole top. And like I said, if you cut accurately and you sewed that 1/2 inch accurately, then this should all match and be the same size. All right, and I'm going to put pins all the way around the edge. All right, and now we're ready to sew. Now we're going to start at the very bottom, and we're going to stitch a 1/2 inch, pivot and come across and down. So again, it would be a good idea for us to make that little 1/2 inch mark up here so we know where to stop and drop our needle. So I'll do it on both sides. And again, this is not an ink pen, it's a pen that goes away with heat. So but it makes a nice precise line. All right, I'm ready to sew.